In our very first story, now following the directive issued by organized labor for the various regions to deliberate on a plan towards the nationwide strike called by the Trade Union Congress on the 18th of November, the various labor groups in the Western region have called a meeting next week. The TUC is demanding that government reduce recent utility tariffs, it says, are too high or consider staggering them over a period. Western Region Secretary of the TUC, Elias Ankoma, tells Joy News the Tuesday meeting will decide on a date for the region's demonstration.
The regions are tasked to organize emergency meetings with the heads of the organized labor in the regions to strategize as to how we will go on our demonstration before the 18th of November 2013. And that the meeting for Western region will be held next week to strategize for the date, venue, and everything about the demonstration. And just after the demonstration, if by 18th November the government has not responded, then the strike begins on the 18th. It will be taking the form of demonstration. And we send our resolutions to the regional minister who represent the president here. As we have not met, we will end up here, so that just after we meet, we will have a lot to say. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has offered to engage the Trade Union Congress over its strike threat. A statement issued by the PRC says, after careful consideration of the issues and threats of strike actions, it has decided to engage all stakeholders, especially labor, on issues regarding tariff increases. This has been necessitated by the fact that arguments surrounding the tariffs have become a lengthy dispute, which needs to be resolved amicably. The Commission also wishes to state emphatically that it is the only body mandated by law to adjust electricity and water tariffs in the country. As such, any grievances concerning the current tariff increases in water and electricity should be directed solely and wholly to the Commission for redress. In this regard, the statement continues, the Commission wishes to indicate that any grievance or reprieve on the 2013 approved electricity and water tariffs should be directed to the Commission, not government. Therefore, any grievance or reprieve directed to government is misplaced and amounts to an interference in the work of the Commission, which undermines the independence of the Commission as stipulated in the PRC Act 1997, Act 538, Section 4, which states that the Commission shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority in the performance of its functions. In a related development, former Majority Leader Alban Bagbing has meanwhile asked the John Mahama administration to listen to the pleas of organized labor to avert the planned nationwide strike over the tariff hikes, which security experts warn could lead to chaos. Speaking to Joy FM, Alban Bagbing agreed with the TUC that the increase in the tariff is too high. He stressed, and I quote, "I also think that the sudden rise is a killer, and therefore government should listen to the plea of organized labor to stagger the implementation of the rise." According to the former health minister, organized labor is scrutinizing government policies and providing feedback on those that are under implementation, and hoped the government would heed to their concerns raised by organized labor. In other news, the Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing has assured Parliament that acute water problems facing residents of Adenta, one of Accra's largest suburbs, should come to an end by December 2014. He told Parliament a transition pipeline that will deliver water to the area is 90% complete. He gave the assurance in his answer to a question posed by the Member of Parliament for Adenta.
Such as Teshi, Nungwa, La. The difficulties the residents of Adenta face when it comes to water are legendary, and though there have been several such assurances, including some presidential, the water being pumped towards the area never seems to reach the residents. In 2011, the government secured a $260 million concessional loan from the Chinese government and supported it with $13 million to address the problem by expanding the Kpong water supply system. The expected date for the completion of the project, which commenced in June 2011, is December 2014, and the minister believes they are on schedule.
Mr. Speaker, the transmission pipeline, which has been routed through Dodowa to Adenta, is 90% complete. The water treatment plant, the booster station, and the intake are all nearing completion. Mr. Speaker, I'm glad to inform this Honorable House that the people of Adenta and its environs will be receiving sufficient water through their taps by the end of 2014.
The MP for Adenta, Emmanuel Niyashimo, who said he was satisfied with the answer provided by the minister and suggested a prepaid system is introduced after the completion of the project.
I will go for a prepaid because you can see that even now with the energy we are even making sure that we are exporting everything onto the prepaid scheme. And today even the mobile phone that we use is also prepaid. So I would prefer that will really make us alert and also be proactive in terms of paying our bills. When you pay, you should be giving the service.
Also in Parliament, the first Deputy Majority Whip and Chairperson of the Women Caucus, Hajia Salifu Boforo, said in a statement on the floor, discrimination against cancer patients must cease.
Breast cancer patients in Ghana also face discrimination from society and even within families. Patients returning from breast cancer surgery are always shunned by their husbands and families. As many as about 20% of women are divorced soon after seeking treatment. As a result, most women avoid cancer screening or help for breast problems. Mr. Speaker, the only good news about breast cancer is that it is preventable.
The first week of sitting after the resumption of the House ends on Friday, November 1.
President John Mahama has made 2 new appointments for leadership of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA, and the Ghana Tourism Development Company, GTDC. The head of the Benefits Division of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNITS, Lord Senanu, has been appointed acting Chief Executive Officer of the NPRA. Flagstaff House officials say his appointment forms part of President John Mahama's announcement at the whole forum on the single spine salary structure to strengthen the management of the NPRA and pensions management in the country, adding that the new and key appointments will be made to the pensions regulator in the coming weeks. A deputy chief executive of the NPRA, who until the latest appointment was acting as CEO, Sam Piale, has been penciled for an ambassadorial appointment. The other appointment is Samuel Atta Mills, a hospitality expert and relative of the late President Mills. He will act as managing director of the Ghana Tourism Development Company. Samuel Atta Mills worked for more than a decade in senior management positions in various tourism and hospitality companies in the United States. Between 2009 and January 2012, he was an aide to the President of the Republic of Ghana. He holds a double major first degree in accounting and information management systems from the Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. He also has an MBA from the same university. Other news, diversion signs should soon be going up at the infamous Okanta Junction on the Nsawam-Kumasi Highway, which has gained notoriety as an accident-prone spot. Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Highway Authority, Norbert Kwamo, following a Joy News report on the high accident rate at that junction, has directed the contractor to provide the road signs. Joy News here, Fuswa Jemfi has more.
The Suhum-Sawam stretch of the Accra-Kumasi Road has been under construction since 2008. Work has however stalled in recent times due to what is being described as funding constraints, to the extent that the Okanta Junction has become a death trap for motorists. This is because after a long drive on a smooth stretch from Nsawam through to Suhum, it hardly occurs to motorists obviously without the benefit of road signs, that the road deteriorates ahead. Motorists who are familiar with the route are aware they, at some point, will have to turn into the opposite lane and drive against the oncoming traffic. Those who are unaware, however, drive onto the very rough patch with sometimes dire consequence. Over 5 vehicles, according to residents, suffer that fate every week. Public Relations Officer at the Ghana Highway Authority notes with concern the increasing spate of road accidents on the stretch and promised to immediately alert the contractor to resolve the situation.
It is incumbent on the contractor to provide the necessary advance warning signals at places where certain activities are going on. And sometimes too, we should really also bear with the contractors. Not that they give up, but where you provide a facility, then overnight it is stolen or destroyed, and you have to go back again and reinstall. It's sometimes frustrating. So I wouldn't defend him saying that he has provided it's been stolen, but this is what happens sometimes. So we'll talk to him to go and have a look at the place and put the necessary safety facilities in place.
Work on the Nsamwem-Suhum Highway is about 60% complete.
Well, that's the mark of a great journalist. In a related development, 4 multimedia journalists have been nominated for the 2012 Ghana Journalist Award slated for this Saturday, November 2. Sponsors of this year's award and the GJ disclosed this at a media briefing today. Now, Kweku Osu Pepra, Richard Kojo Nyako, Manasseh Azore-Awene, who's the GJ Journalist of the Year Award winner, and Gifty Ando-Apia, who's also CNN Multi-Choice African Journalist of the Year Award for TV, the Best TV News Bulletin. They are among the nominees. And then News Generation's Efwa Akwa Harrison has also been nominated for her previous work. And to all of them, we say congratulations on their nomination. And we're sure that you're going to bring us the honors. We're taking a break. We're back with more news. Stay tuned. Right, Ghanaians may no longer find it necessary to have a separate card for the myriad of things they will be required to show proof of identification. It will, however, depend on how well ongoing talks between government and TRUB, one of the leading IT companies in the world in security identification, goes on the introduction of a multi-purpose national identity card. The new card, according to officials, will incorporate the national health and identity data as well as the voter registration details of the holder to facilitate quicker and faster transactions.
Minister of State in charge of private sector development, Rashid Purple, spoke about the overall benefits of the new card.
This one-time expenditure, for me, is the best. You have an expenditure where, after collecting all the data and putting it in one, you don't have to have voter register being collected by National Electoral Commission. You have National Health Insurance going ahead to collect data. You have everybody going into the field to collect data. You just have one person collect the data at once, and then you share the data. And then you can monitor the data from one point. So you have one data bank that addresses the keyros needs of our people.
He explains government's collaboration with a Swiss firm on the introduction of the new card system.
Depending on how we relate with them, we may have to partner them and to see how we can deal with the keyros questions of the day in terms of how we identify Ghanaians at this very juncture in our history, which is very, very crucial, to keep identity of people authentic and with the needed features engraved in the cards.
The new card, according to the Swiss partners, is a solution to the myriad of challenges confronting security identification in the country.
It's very important to have one platform so different ministers can have the same information. Because in many countries in Africa it happens that each minister has his own database, and one citizen can have a name like James and be 21, having a driving license, and then on an ID card they are 23 and they're called John. So actually we want to come here and to offer the same solution, which is one platform where we're collecting all the data, which the police can use. For the border control you can use it for the identification, you can use it for the health insurance, you can use it for voting. So for several uses which are requested, they can use the same database.
The Swiss partners are expected to furnish government with a thorough proposal for the implementation of the entire project.
The Wa Municipal Chief Executive Isahaku Nuhu Putiaha has expressed worry over the increasing loss of lives on the region's roads. Speaking at the 4th Upper West Region Road Safety Awards, Isahaku Nuhu stated that the past 10 months has seen 63 people losing their lives and called for strategies to end the carnage. Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
4 years ago is to encourage transport unions to compete among themselves on best practices in order for them to save lives and also ensure roads are safe. In attendance were members of the various transport organizations, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service, police and the National Ambulance Service who took part in a simulation exercise on the need to drive safely on the road. The Wa Municipal Chief Executive Isahaku Nuhu Putiaha praised the National Road Safety Commission for introducing the award, stating that it should be broadened to include road agencies, the driver and vehicle licensing authority, and the National Ambulance Service.
That is 63 lives lost so far on our roads. These are only reported cases. This situation is unacceptable, and everything possible ought to be done to stabilize and further reverse the trend. From these statistics, it is evident that road users should adopt a positive behavior coupled with the competent and effective performance of all institutions possible. We should therefore not only concern ourselves with the rate of crashes on our road, but also commit to supervise and reversal of this situation.
The Upper West Regional Director of the National Road Safety Commission, Abdul Samad Mohammed, threw more light on the awards.
It's not something where we come to meet and then just talk about some people being winners and others being losers. It is not like that. It is an issue that we have to use more or less to encourage transport unions so that they could compete for position or for honors, so that they will do the right things. What we say, we're going to award best performance transport unions. Then talking about that, it means that we want them to do certain things that will actually inure to the benefit of road users.
Metro Mass Transit Limited won the overall best, followed by Intercity, STC and O&A Transport.
Now, having a home overlooking the ocean would usually come with a great feel, a prestige reserved for just a few who can afford. The picture is, however, radically different from Ghana's coastline, where most of the homes cost next to nothing. The beaches are that filthy, you wouldn't want to own a home there, or, as Joy News Adelaide Arthur reports, you'd have to live with the constant threat of tidal waves sweeping your home away.
For several minutes, I watched in shock as the waves hit the foundations of several buildings along the shore. The sea has already claimed several of the buildings, from Glefe through New Akweteman to Begbese.
This is New Akweteman near Glefe, where residents here are facing the greatest challenge of their lives. Their buildings are being threatened by the sea. Several of the buildings have already been washed away. But though it's life-threatening, what is actually keeping these residents here is the means to afford a better place for themselves.
Madam Patience Formatu has been living here with her family for the past 15 years.
From the beginning, this is not how the situation is. The sea was far away, some miles away, and even people have their buildings here, and we also got here. During those times, many people are here. You can see those are foundations there, broken foundations, many people. And even where the people are dragging this net, they are all houses. The sand was so high that you climb the sand before getting to the sea. But now the sea have taken all those lands. It's by the grace of God that we are still here.
So basically you are saying you are protecting your building with these sand blocks?
Yes.
Yeah, so how long have these sand blocks been here?
It's almost 5 to 6 years now.
But you
think the sea used to come and remove it. We buy plenty sacks. The sea will come and remove all.
This is obviously life-threatening because you never know when you'll be indoors and then the sea will take over your building. And you live here with your family. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you scared?
We are scared. We are always scared. And we are preparing to get the land. Only things are not going well. That's why.
Last year, severe tidal waves destroyed at least 100 homes, according to the assemblyman of the area, Emmanuel Boyo.
It has been a major problem within the area because from June, July, August, that's where the tidal wave strikes. And whenever it strikes, that's why in the night, people used to get in touch of serious problem. And though nobody dies, but it seems the people used to be strained. The artists will spoil mattress, TV, and then the houses, demolition and all those things. So we are also putting this in place to write report and then so if the assembly will get some place for them to relocate them from the area.
Someone actually made the allegation that it is not the sea that is coming to the people, it's rather the people who went ahead to build closer to the sea because there was a vast land, about 100 meters, that was supposed to be left between the sea and the immediate houses, but people actually went there to build houses close to the sea. Is it true? If you've been living there for quite some time now, is this allegation true?
It's true. Whenever they are even building and you go to them to stop building, and they will say, why are you stopping them? And they'll continue to be building. Some people even will be building in the night to get their home to sleep in. And it is one of the major problems that we are facing.
He says residents are also in the habit of winning sand along the shore, an act that enables the sea to come closer to the settlements. Until the interventions materialize, however, the residents will continue to live with a threat rather than prestige that would usually come with owning a beachfront property.
Right, so on Sunday, Ghana will experience darkness as the moon covers most of the sun in a solar eclipse. Unlike the 2006 eclipse where the moon totally covered the sun, experts say about 85% of the moon will be covered in this case.
For 3 hours, the moon will slowly pass over the surface of the sun on a journey that is expected to begin at 11:38 a.m. The passage will cast a dawn-like darkness on the country as the sun, moon, and earth align.
The moon facing the sun will cast its shadow, and the shadow will fall on earth. And because earth is rotating, the shadow will be in apparent movement at the rate of about 40,000 per second. Now the dark one, which is the central shadow, will not pass through Ghana. It will be at a distance of about 2,000 kilometers down the ocean. But it will reach Angola, it will reach Gabon, it will go through Central Africa, Uganda, Kenya.
He says, given a bright sky without rain or clouds, we should be able to experience uninterrupted partial solar eclipse as predicted. The phenomenon has been described as a romance between the sun and the moon.
How come that a tiny planetary body or heavenly body 400 times smaller can cover the face of the sun? That's very exciting. It is because of a geometry which we call the grand coincidence, the size of the moon to the earth, the size of the moon to the sun, and the distance from the earth to the sun. They appear to be in the ratio of 400. So 400 over 400 is 1. It gives that impression or illusion that as we sit, we stand here, the moon is as big as the sun.
In order to avoid eye damage, he warns those who wish to watch should put on a safety eyewear, which is selling for 2 or 3 Ghana cedis.
If you put it on at this time of the day and you looked at the sky, or supposing the sun was in the horizon and you looked, you may not see it. It is dense. It has the density number of 14, equivalent to the welder's goggle. This density is sufficient enough to cut off the harmful rays of the sun. So they say protect your eye just to endure the visible light, not the X-ray, not the ultraviolet, not the gamma ray.
According to Professor Amamuotre, the next partial eclipse is expected to occur in 2027 and 2038. There will, however, be another total eclipse in 2032.
Okay, I got mine. You can see me, but I can't see you. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more news.
Well, time now for business. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi. You might not really like this one because prices of petroleum products are expected to go up by almost 2% and 6% from tomorrow morning. Consumers of petrol and diesel would be paying almost 2% more for every litre, while LPG would go up by 1.22%. Kerosene would go up by 6.88%, while residual fuel, which is mainly used by industries, would go up a little over 5%. The price of premixed fuel, however, remains the same. Now that should be some relief for our fisher folk. Well, away from that, ECOWAS heads of states have tasked President John Mahama and the President of Niger to facilitate the monetary integration process of the sub-region through the convergence criteria. Minister for Trade and Industry Haruna Idrisu, who disclosed this at the opening of the 7th ECOWAS Trade Fair in Accra, also mentioned that member states are set to harmonize the Common External Tariff Regime, CETS, within the next 5 years to ensure transparency in custom procedures and also reduce delays at the borders.
ECOWAS Trade Fair brought together enterprises in 12 out of 15 countries in the West African sub-region to showcase their goods and services in order to promote interregional trade. For member states, administrative bottlenecks in cross-border trading do not make it attractive. The Minister for Trade and Industry says the ECOWAS meeting in Senegal therefore resolved to ensure the existing challenges are addressed.
The ECOWAS heads of state at the recent meeting in Senegal tasked President John Dramani Mahama of Ghana and the President of Niger to facilitate the monetary integration through the convergence criteria. It's a commitment that the President has accepted and will pursue with alacrity to its best conclusion. What is important is for ECOWAS to harmonize its common external tariff regime, popularly known as the CETS, where you have situations in the UEMO countries charging 0.50 cents per import levy, whilst 1.50 in the UEMO countries and 0.50 in the West African English-speaking countries. The heads of state took a major decision to harmonize this within the next 5 years, and it's a belief of Ghana that this can be done even within a much shorter period.
He mentioned that Ghana plans to diversify its exports by finding new trading partners in other parts of the world. A national export strategy is also in place to increase exports from $2.5 billion to $5 billion. For ECOWAS, though, regional integration is the only means of surviving in the competitive global market.
Producers produce, manufacturers manufacture. Traders are moving up and down the highway, but there are stiff competition out there in the regional and global market. We have to have the willpower, both public and private. We have to extremely harmonize and coordinate our conflicting and competing national and regional policies. And underlying all of that, we have to ensure that we have the availability of roads, energy, rail, storage facilities, human competencies, and appropriate inter-country monetary policies.
The 7th ECOWAS Trade Fair will run through October 31 to November 11.
Now, the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana is negotiating with government to map out a strategic plan to expand public-private partnership in the country. Minister of State at the Presidency in charge of PPP, Rashid Pelpo, says the move is to encourage more small-scale enterprises and other private entities partner government to boost the economy and speed up the country's development. CEO of Stratcom Africa, Esther Koba, and CIMG Marketing Woman of the Year emphasized the need to understand collaboration between public and private entities to be more beneficial to society. The leadership of the CIMG called on the minister at the Flagstaff House.
Public sector has to appreciate what the private sector has to offer. The public sector needs to appreciate what it can let go for the private sector to take on. If there's a road that has to be made, and the government does not have resources immediately to build the road, the private sector can come in, build the road, operate it for some time to recoup its investments and hand it over to government. If, let's say, there's an area in this country where there is no health facility, government can talk to private sector so that together they can build the hospital. The people of Ghana stand to benefit from increased development and improvements in livelihoods. The focus should be getting people to appreciate that it is possible.
They were eager to be part of the solutions to the major problems we are facing in getting the private sector involved in supporting government to achieve its development objectives. What we agree was for them to develop a plan or a program or a proposal which we can both look at and sponsor to reach out to SMEs, to help them to first of all know the advantages that are inherent in the private sector, how to partner with the public sector to take advantage of those advantages and be able to develop their market plans and be able to reach out to the consumer. So essentially it's for them to come out with some solutions which we can work with, because going private is the way to go. I mean, you can't have governments staying in the energy business and waiting for every number of years to be able to gather money in order to invest in it. But if you can have the private sector come in immediately, then the good is provided. Energy is provided in abundance. We pay for it. And then, we are able to run an economy that is sustainable, and energy will be available for industry. And we can jump over the major hurdles we are confronting now.
That's it for Business Short. Sports comes up shortly.
Right now, time to jump into the world of sports day. However, the chairman of the Youth and Sports Committee in Parliament says the committee is working with the Egyptian High Commissioner to Ghana to ensure extra security measures are put in place for the safety of both players and supporters. The move comes after football's world governing body FIFA ruled the return leg of the Ghana-Egypt World Cup playoff qualifier be played in Cairo despite security concerns. Most members, however, shot down the suggestion that Ghana boycotts the game.
Man said the concerns have all been noted and that the committee is working around the clock to address them.
We're trying our best to liaise with the key stakeholders and to ensure that, Ghanaian lives are not lost when they are there. Everything goes smoothly whilst we travel there. The committee is doing effectively some communications and some discussions and coming to an acceptable conclusion.
MP for Fantiakwa South, Kofi Ochiajikum, stressed the need for national security to complement whatever arrangements may have been put in place for the contingent.
To be very necessary for our government and GFA to make sure that we all send our security experts there to make sure that where our players and spectators are secured in their hotels and they are in the stadium and everywhere. We should go and negotiate for that and make sure that we know that we are satisfied ourselves. Assurances from Egyptians or FIFA will not be enough.
There have also been suggestions that the Black Stars forfeit their match against the Pharaohs of Egypt. But the MP for Yagaba Kubori disagrees.
I don't want the players to forfeit the match. The reason being that the FIFA, currently we are not clear about the rules. FIFA might not even give the Egyptians just the 3 points and allow us to go through. They might even ban Ghana for defying their rules to play in Cairo.
Right, so more reactions definitely coming out of this one, and the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi, says his outfit is dissatisfied with FIFA's decision to allow Cairo host the return leg fixture of the Black Stars duel against Egypt.
When we filed a protest with FIFA against the decision to play the game in Cairo, we were aware that there were 3 outcomes. It could either be a confirmation of the venue in Cairo or an order to ask that the match be played on a neutral ground, or an order that the match be played in Cairo but without spectators. We are aware of these 3 outcomes, that any of them could be reached by FIFA. So when FIFA decided that we should play in Cairo with spectators or before spectators, we were a bit surprised considering the security situation in the country. If you've been following the media, you will learn that on each passing day, lives are lost, properties are destroyed in Egypt, and there is a real threat to security in Cairo. But FIFA took the decision based on an acceptance of the guarantees provided by the state of Egypt or the government of Egypt, that they will guarantee the safety and security of our delegation, match officials from FIFA and spectators.
Right, we'll do some more soccer, but let's quickly find out from what's happening really on the women's side. And the Black Maidens have stepped up preparations for the World Cup qualifier against Equatorial Guinea this weekend at the Crossport Stadium. The Maidens are fighting for one of 3 available slots for Africa alongside Equatorial Guinea, South Africa, Zambia, Morocco and Nigeria. The tournament will take place in Costa Rica next year. And Joy Sports caught up with assistant coach Ben Foku and team captain Amina Husseini at the training grounds today.
Yeah, for about 2 months now, we are in camp prepared. We are mentally and physically prepared. We know the coaches has taken us through so many things. So what we have to do is just to come Saturday and apply what we have done. We have been taught so many things. So we are waiting so that Saturday we'll just come and apply what we've been taught. I know it's a very great game, or I may say it's a very crucial game. All we have to do is just to come out and win the game massively, because this is the final hurdle of the qualifier, so we have to win by all costs.
Well, that'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adejuna. Israel will join us with some more.
Sports was brought to you in as may not have been the reigning hip life champion, but was indeed reigning in the world of hip life, and was about the hottest artiste on the block in the early 2000s. He was a hip life champion in 2001 when the segment was introduced to Club Pleasure, and performed at all major events in the country. Of all his performances though, Bonchaka said Panafest 2001 and Joy FM's second edition of the Night with the Stars concert were his memorable ones. And when he was asked whether he was satisfied with what he had achieved as of July 2003, he said what he was doing then was actually a tip of what he could do. 10 years after his demise, the young Afro-haired artist who died in a motor accident on October 31, 2003 is still sorely remembered. Here are excerpts of his live performances while he was alive.
Terry Bonchaka, 2001, Best Hip Life Dance Champ and Best Hip Life Artist. Le ole, le ole, le bomole, le abekule, le ole. le. Come on, le, le gomole, le abekule, le bentoile. All right, gonna let you never know. Shana not turn in the nyama. Come on, gonna let you never know. Shana boom stand ahead. Gonna let you never know. Shana not turn in the nyama. Come on, gonna let you never know. Shana boom stand ahead. All right. One on. Master just going for the dance section. The time the boy don't call about just pick up on. Aisha, come on, man. Let them know so that's nice, you know. Sing it up. All right, let them know so that's nice, you know. Where you like. All right, sing out and sing to the street. One chaka does pick up on checks once again. Yeah, man. Well, up respect, man. Thank you, man. Selector. What are we waiting for? Drop it on, man. Hey. What going for the house, man? You must jump on, man. Who feel the randy? And now who feel the Benza?
I feel the randy. Yes, I feel the Benza.
Me not Terry Bun Jack and the Rekas. I said, Philomena, me up on my memory, ma. Mommy, for me, the cross so good, no. Now, horse, I'm so good, world. Me, like an ass, it's very so. Ooh, la, 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 ooh, la, 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 ooh, la, 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 ooh.
Well, that's it for showbiz. And Terrible Nchaka, he lives on. Top stories. The PRC has extended an invitation to the TUC for further dialogue on its threat to strike nationwide on the 18th of November over the utility tariff hikes. The Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing has assured residents of Adenta their difficulties with potable water running through their taps should end by December next year. Government has begun talks with the Swiss firm it says could lead to the rollout of a multi-purpose national identity card that could be used for health insurance as well as for voting. The Ghana Highway Authority has promised road signs at the infamous Okanta Junction on the Nsuam Kumasi Highway to curb accident rates there. And fuel prices are to go up from tomorrow. That's it for the bulletin. But before I go, I'm told those of you wondering where to get the eclipse shades for Sunday, they're available at the front desk here at Multi TV and at Joy FM across the road. Have a good evening.